This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, you're being recorded, so. All right, I'll go ahead and start. So I'll call this meeting the order of the Streets and Infrastructure Committee meeting, regular meeting of the City of Bisbee, County of Cochise, State of Arizona, to be held on Thursday, November 19th, 2020 at 5:30 we are on GoToMeeting. We'll call this order at 5:32. Let me put that down. 5:32. All right. We'll start with roll call. Benjamin Lepley.
Here.
Frank Cabello.
Here.
Lawrence Stone.
Here.
Stephen Day.
Here.
Council member Lewis Pollock does not look like he is on with us this evening. And I am here, Jesus Haro. Actually, I think we on the agenda oh no, it's there. Call to public. I better say it. So we do have to do a call to the public. I don't notice anybody other than the members of the Streets and Infrastructure Committee meeting. So seeing that we don't have anybody, I guess anybody. Okay, so no call to public. We have no old business, so let's go straight to new business. Item 1 is a paving update. We have completed our Tombstone Canyon project. We have gone through the punch list. We went through, we did the thermoplastic paving. We did make some changes to the original paint striping. After the changes that we made, I have not had anybody call and say that they needed something other than what we put down. Other than we have just parking disputes between neighbors. We did have one person up on I think it's close to the 300 block of Tombstone Canyon. We added some chevron areas so that we could eliminate. So we did have people parking within a site visibility triangle. Neighbor was, again, neighbor dispute. Neighbor didn't like it and he painted over it. Was a police report filed, and I do fully intend to pursue charges with that. That's going to be a pretty costly repair. Unfortunately, I think that the person that did it, which I don't know who did it, the police do. Maybe they didn't know, but that's going to be pretty costly to repair.
That's near the Jonquil Hotel?
Yes. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, you can see it. It looks like they just spray painted it. In fact, the spray paint looks like it's already coming up. But again, that's a vandalism. That's like unfortunate, but that's a pretty costly thing. The actual thermoplastic itself is not. It's having somebody come to do it. We don't have that equipment to put down thermoplastic.
Or acetone, you could probably just acetone it and scrub it off.
But we would be removing the retroreflectivity at that point. So, but either way, we do have a police report, so we'll pursue it that way. And other than that, we originally had plans to do some more paving before it got too cold. So, but as I assume you all know, if you don't, City Hall is moving. We're going to be moving from our facility here at Toberville Road over to Erie Street, and our streets department has been busy with that. So we weren't able to do any paving now. We still have on our slate. We would like to do Douglas Road or Douglas Street, I believe. It's a street right behind, I guess it'd be west of Bisbee Road, behind the old public works facility.
It's Douglas Street.
Douglas Street. We plan on doing that. Campbell, again, right off of Bisbee Road. That's one it's definitely going to be one of the next ones we do. And we plan on doing, I can't remember the name, and if I had more available to me, again, I was speaking to Ben, so I need to apologize to you all again. We lost power here at City Hall, so I'm running my meeting off of my hotspot from my work cell phone. So let me see if I can grab this. But we do have the area, gosh darn it, what is the name of the area? Off of Highway 92. Why can't I think of the name of the area? Somebody help me out.
Galena?
What's that?
Galena?
Yes. We plan on doing both the Galena area, both on the north and the south side of the highway. So that's the other area that we plan on doing. That one is going to be a lot easier. There's not a lot of reconstruction to that. It's just some potholes, and we can do that. But the other two roads, those ones will take a lot more effort.
And I guess an oil truck, it's pretty much oil truck season, right?
Yes, and I think that is actually, wasn't that somewhere on here? I thought I read that. There was something, there it is. Yeah, item 9. We
Oh,
can, yeah, item 9. Yes, we'll get there, but yes. Does anybody have any questions or comments on paving updates?
Are you there's still some roads in Old Bisbee that are gonna need paving maybe next year? Are you gonna come back around and finish up Old
Absolutely.
Bisbee next year? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And so now we are pretty firm with iWork in our pavement maintenance program here. So even before we go, because we're actually getting ready to turn to the new year, that's when shortly after in January we start working on budget. I'll have a whole set up so that we can show what needs to be done next. So on our next meeting, I actually hope to have a few models run so that we can talk about that.
Are there any retaining walls and stuff like that in Old Bisbee that, or anywhere really, Galena or whoever? I don't think there's any retaining walls there, but that hold up roads that are scheduled, because those can be pretty pricey, so they need a bigger timeline to save up money for that, right?
Yes. So we do have the two that we did. We do have in that we've already have engineered. Both the 75 OK Street, and then those ones are ready to go. Is that one? Those ones would be a good projects to put into our next budget year, so that we pretty much we have our engineer's cost estimate. They aren't too pricey. We can talk about that. I don't want to go too much into that. But the other one would be that we want to look at is Opera. There's that Opera and Tembe. Is it Tembe? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Those two. That we'll start getting some engineering on that and
Yeah.
sorts of things. So the next two.
And oh, sorry. What's up, Stephen?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, Frank. That on Tembe, that water line that's under there, going around the corner. I'm sure. I don't know if you know, but it leaks twice a year, and in the same spots. So that's definitely, I'm guessing, a good spot to coordinate. If you guys are going to be working in the same area, because it's always springing a leak, and the pavement keeps settling more and more. So
that job there is under review on the preliminaries for construction next year, we're hoping.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen so many blue stakes out there. I figure something's going on.
The only problem is they want us to put 6-inch diameter pipe in there, and that might almost be impossible given the depths and the angles there. But if they're okay with us putting 3-inch or 2-inch HDPE, I think that'd be the best way to go, and it'd last the longest. But again, that's all under review. We're hoping to get it done March next year.
How are the sewer pipes down there? And I don't know what else is under there. I know there's a sewer line that there's a lot of laterals that go into it, and then
yeah, I know a lot of that's old clay, and it's not in real good shape. Our bigger concern there, as far as the reason you see a lot of blue stakes, is what we ran into up in Quarry Canyon. Some of those laterals aren't laterals; they're tied into another lateral, and that makes them, or that categorizes them as a main. And that changes the complexity of the distancing we have to have on new main installations. So we're just trying to be real cautious there and just kind of verifying the information. But, you know, even the best work, we'll probably run into something we don't like. So here's hoping anyway.
okay, all right, cool.
Okay. Ben, I'd love to, if you want more information on that topic that Frank brought up. He's exactly right, and so I could talk to you more about that.
No, I'm good. I was just curious. Thanks.
Okay. Any other comments or questions regarding paving update?
I don't know if it has to do with paving. I guess it probably doesn't. No.
Okay. Let's move on then to item 2, financial update with income sources and updates. I'm not quite sure who brought that up, but what I can tell you is that our HERF and our income tax, they're about 3% low than what was projected. This is coming from our finance department. So we're not too far off. What really helps us again was that last year when we had our HERF was pretty healthy. So we're doing okay with 3%. I think that's something that we can adjust for. I don't foresee that being a huge problem. 3% is not a lot to do. When it comes to paving, it's something I can manage. Does anybody have any questions or comments regarding that?
I've seen in the Sierra Vista Herald Tribune that, or I believe that's the source, that some of the departments in Bisbee are giving back some of their revenues to the general fund. Do you think that's going to be part of what we do here at Streets and Infrastructure?
No, we can't.
I know.
We can't. Those from HERF funds and the 1% sales tax that's dedicated to Streets and Infrastructure, that can't go to general fund.
Okay, fine.
That's no, that's got to stay here. Anything, in fact, anything we spend with that money has to stay here. So it can't go to general fund.
That was just a rumor I'd heard, and so I just wanted to put that to bed. Thank you.
Sure, not a problem.
Great question.
Any other questions, comments regarding financial update? And none. I think we can move on to item 3. Okay, this one's a big one, guys. You ready? Discussion and possible approval of the nomination and voting of a new chair for the Streets and Infrastructure Committee. This is something that you all let die for lack of last time. You know that the discussion was prior to letting it die was that we wanted to wait until we had a full membership. I did have a discussion with our clerk's office. We do not have additional members yet. So that's what I have to present to you all. We have you 4 great members, and we still lack a chair for this committee. Any discussions, comments, or nominations?
I'd like to nominate someone. I'd like to nominate Larry Stone.
I think we need to get this off the agenda. I'd be happy to accept the nomination if you want to put it to a vote.
I'll second that nomination, definitely. I can't do it.
Great.
Good job,
We have
guys.
a nomination. I assume that we'll take that as the motion and a second from Mr. Day. I guess all those approve of having Mr. Larry Stone as our chair for the Streets Infrastructure Committee signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Hearing none, motion passed unanimously, 4-0.
Great, thank you. I'm honored.
He's read his open meeting law.
Great, and I sincerely appreciate your efforts, Mr. Stone.
Definitely more qualified than I would be, for sure.
Item 4, discussion for approval of the nomination and voting of a new vice chair for the Streets and Infrastructure Committee. Again, same thing. This died last time for a lack of motion. Same situation. We have the 4 members here. We can move forward with the nomination and do what we did last time.
Well, my thing is, wouldn't know who to nominate for that position. I just got elected to Naco Sanitary District Board, so I'm going to be spending a lot of time doing that. So I'm probably going to be chairing that. So I can't really do that. I don't know. Right now, we don't have a very big group of people to choose from.
Okay.
I
Well,
don't know where to go, actually.
my two cents, Ben seems very diligent and is always very attentive. I'd like to nominate him.
Who's that? Jason?
Ben?
I think I have to pass because I was just nominated as chair of the DRB, which is, I don't know if you guys know, is like the most drama anyone ever wants to handle in their life.
You volunteered for that. Oh my God, you brave person.
Yeah. So I think being on 2 already is a lot. We just met yesterday, so I think I'm gonna pass this time, but possibly in the future.
Okay.
Why can't we
Well, we can.
But I could flip a coin and nominate someone else. Is anyone interested?
We can again, I hate to put that out there, but we can let what happened last time happen again.
Yeah, you can just let it die for now and then maybe try and pick it up later.
Again,
Sooner or later, we got to convince somebody to want to be on this board. It's not like the most terrible thing in the world.
I've been trying to get people.
It's not like the designer review board or anything.
And people love signing up for that one, so I don't get it.
This one's a good board. It's productive and I think we get a lot done. So, okay. So what we'll do is I will say that this has died lack of motion, and we may pick this up back in the future.
I think we should try and get some skateboarders or something on board.
Yeah, they would like it. They need to come down.
Exactly. They like smooth roads, right? So.
Yeah, I can't imagine how fast the go-karts are going to go at the next July 4th thing if we ever have one again.
It's going to be off the wall, literally.
I'm taking credit for that one. We get record times. I'm taking credit. Let's see here.
Oh, it's fun to drive up Tombstone Canyon now. It's fun. It's like an enjoyable experience.
So I will tell you. So I
You
will
can
tell
actually
you
take
that my workout yesterday was riding my bike from Brewery up to the interchange. I rode my bicycle up and down that a few times. Coming down was pretty fast.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hey, and a well-marked street that's nice like that, you're not having to like totally concentrate on the street. So for like tourists, they're
Mhm.
able to take their eyes off the road for a minute and look at what's around them instead of having to like try to avoid every pothole and bump and everything in the way. So, that's an interesting plus to paving.
Yeah.
Aesthetics.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to item 5, restriping in Old Bisbee. I touched on that with our paving update. Does anybody have any specific questions
Yeah,
regarding striping?
I guess just an update on the area around Ironman. I think is kind of the last area that hasn't been that I think is still in the works, pretty much, right?
I might have another
Yeah,
one.
I do have some plans for that, conceptual plans. That one's going to be, for lack of better word, good. That one's going to be a little bit more political and controversial. What I would like to do that with that once we do start moving forward is have a meeting or two where we have some sort of like city hall type meetings or city town hall type meetings to let the citizens give us some input.
Work
What I
session.
plan is I like to put a couple, like maybe like 2 or 3 concepts out there that people will scribble all over a board. Say, hey, I'd rather have this or I'd rather have that, and then we can say, hey, that's a great idea, or hey, that won't work because of this.
Yeah.
But that one, you're right. There, one of the big ones that comes up there is that one's a more heavy with pedestrians. So a lot of people want some sort of crosswalk there. The issue with that being is that there's 2 handicap ramps on the side of the Ironman, so the county courthouse side. Nothing on the other side. That's something that needs to be. We need to come up with a good concept so that we can add that. We want to make sure that we have, if we're inviting somebody into the street, they have a way to get out.
Yeah. I think there's also a couple parcels that could change location, a little swap. I was just talking to 2 feuding business owners this morning, for 3 hours about that area. You probably know who they are.
Only 3.
Yeah,
Only,
exactly. And I think there's definitely room for improvement in that area. The lot lines are pretty nonsensical. I also had a question on that area because the creek flows under that spot on the north side of the road where I think it's
Sure.
Clausen comes in. And is that going to be part of that improvement grant? Is that one of the bridges that's getting improved or no? Or looked at?
You're referring to the that we just accepted with DEMA.
Yeah, I think so.
And
Yeah.
it was at council this past Tuesday. No, that is not one of the areas. The targeted area was more for the fire department. So their driveway bridge is one of them, but that was more of the targeted areas. That bridge is not included at this time. Again, one of the other things with that is we are partnering with Arizona Water, and a big part of that is so that they can upgrade their facilities so that we can abandon our fire suppression systems. So we've included all this really large project so that we can do a number of things, but it was accepted by FEMA so that we can start moving with the planning on that.
Okay.
I have something I was looking at. I've been downtown a couple times the last couple of days looking at the new stripes. Now, I was at the coffee company at the Phelps Dodge Mercantile. If you look across the street there by the Western Bank, we have two parallel parking places, right?
Yes.
Well, I was looking at it because the way the road boundary stripe is, I think like on the Mercantile side, you could put angled parking in there and maybe put 3 or 4 cars instead of 2.
Yesterday, you have already you've read into what I was trying to do. Yes, that is my plan. We couldn't just do that because currently the subway right behind the bank is still two-way, and so we ran into some site visibility with that.
Because the vehicles coming out would have to be able to see past. You know,
yeah, we're gonna work on that. We're gonna work on it, and then we can get another 2 spot.
Yeah, because like I'm thinking, if you can continue the road boundary down subway line out to meet the other line and put a stop sign there at the end of where the cars would be parked, you'd probably have to put some like really, really big concrete thing in front of it so somebody doesn't take it down. But that's what I'm going. Jason would be. I mean, Ben would probably be the guy to look at that in our group because he is the engineer. He's pretty good with stuff.
The problem with moving that stop sign, we had this idea because I was out there with Jesus and the KE&G striping guys when they were marking stuff with spray paint. Is that there's that sidewalk right next to the Western Bank where that stop sign is, and so if you move that, move that stop sign out, then people are going to walk on that sidewalk and potentially walk right in front of a car that would normally have stopped there. And so they could get hit by a car because it's a blind corner.
Putting 2 stop signs up would probably be out of the question,
Yeah. That is my plan, but it's going to take a little bit more than just some striping. We're going to have to make some modifications, but yes, that is my plan, is to be able to add possibly 2.
That area flows so much better though.
Because most even driving lessons, if you pull up to a stop sign and your view's obstructed, you're supposed to pull forward until you can stop a second time where you can actually see before you pull out into a moving lane of traffic. So nobody actually ever does that, but that's the rule. Anyway, we can move on. If somebody's looking at it, that's great by me for sure. I hope it can happen. Every parking plus.
That area works so much smoother now, I think. At least that's my opinion. I don't know if it's true, but it seems like it works a lot smoother. Because I go through there every other day on my way to the post office. So
now if we can just figure out how to get the people who own the parking lot to paint the stripes in there, we could actually get a few more cars parked too. That's free-form parking here. It's interesting. It's its own form of art.
Yep.
I'm just making some notes here. Apologize.
No problem.
Oh, God. I'm getting a call from somebody. One thing I do want to bring up about the striping, and because I want to bring it up on the record. I know previously along the Main Street area where the parallel parking is in front of the businesses there. Previously, those had like the parking blocks that were basically T's, but it created parking blocks in front of there. That was eliminated consciously by myself. I felt that if we left it open so that people can park there and let themselves park, that eventually those people would be more efficient rather than us telling where people can park, so that we can get a larger vehicle in there, maybe a smaller vehicle. I haven't had anybody come to me with any kind of concern, question, comment with that, but I just wanted to bring that up, that was intentional. It wasn't something that we forgot. Again, the same thing with up a little further up the hill, across, so just maybe down the hill, so it'll be south of where the restaurants are, south of the Ironman. So to the so if you were coming down the hill on the right hand side, that side there, just south of the, or yeah, we south of the Ironman. Same thing. They used to have parking blocked areas, and that area was left with just an edge line marker. Again, same reason. I felt that that would be better left to let the people park where it was appropriate. It's open. You can park there. There is no parking restriction. There's a larger vehicle that doesn't fit within the parking blocks, they're okay. There's a smaller one, but those areas were intentionally left that way. I don't know if you all have any questions or comments with that, but I just wanted to bring that up so that we recorded that on and make that up. Go ahead, Mr.
I'm
Day.
just going to say this about in front of the in front of the coffee shop, and those two. There used to be 3 parking spaces. Now there's only 2. There used to be concrete curb blocks there, and I'm just like somebody almost hit the wall there today. They were like an inch away from it with the car parking. So I'm like, I don't know. Maybe putting some of the concrete stops there on that side might want to, to
hit the wall of the convention center.
Nobody can walk in front of the cars either. Then you either got to walk through where everybody's sitting or walk all the way around into the street behind them. And there used to have like a little concrete, the cars that stop, and you have at least 2 feet to walk between the wall and the front of the car there.
I wonder if that got moved by the paving company and just not put back.
Well,
I don't remember those
degrading there.
They may have been there.
They were. They were there.
Through, I don't remember.
The coffee company may have put them in there because it is their wall.
Sure.
And
typically, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Typically, that's what happens is a insurance company or whatever business is. You should probably put this there to protect your building. So, but that's something we can look at.
Yeah.
This is the wall of the courtyard.
They actually own the sidewalks. So.
This is the wall of the little seating area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the basement runs under the sidewalk, they actually own the sidewalk as part of the property, unlike it's not a public sidewalk. So yeah, so they get that. But yeah.
Okay. I'll take a look at that. Okay. Any other comments, questions regarding the restriping of Old Bisbee? It doesn't have to be Tombstone Canyon. If there's anything else in there that you all have concerns with or comments. Okay, hearing none, let's move on to item 6. The lights on Highway 80, Mr. Larry Stone. This is something that you had on the agenda, I believe, for the previous meeting. Something you want to discuss with that?
Yeah, I still think it's important to keep Highway 80 lit as it goes down past the Lavender Pit. I mean, right there at the Lavender Pit, per se, there's no lights, but below the Lavender Pit and above the Lavender Pit. And I'm also still really concerned about the poor lighting in the tunnel there. You said Arizona Department of Transportation had that on their list of things they wanted to do, and I was hoping that we could get a date certain that they will replace those lights inside the tunnel.
Okay, I can talk to them. I can almost guarantee. I will talk to them and see if they have a date. I know that they were working on it, that they were looking on submitting a project for that. What I was told is previously when they submitted that project, it was not, but they were fairly confident that it would at this time. Again, I think I mentioned previously the reason for those light failures is because of the water that's within that mountain. And you can go down there probably today, right now, and you can see that there's water seeping in right there, running down the side of the walls there. So they are aware that that's something they
There's stalactites hanging from the ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
That's
There, there's
rebar.
drainage stalactites hanging from the cracks of the water. Now.
As far as lighting around the pit, I mentioned previously and that lighting again is on Highway 80. That actually that lighting subject came up before the city council on whether we should continue to light that or not. It was not a voted on. I don't believe it. I think it was more of a direction. It wasn't something they voted on. That is something that if you all want to bring before the council, that's something that you all can do as a committee. What I would suggest then at that point, if that's something you want to do, is we put this back on our agenda for a vote. Excuse me, I dropped my pen, sorry. I would suggest that we would put this back on our agenda for our next meeting as a vote for a recommendation to the council, so that they can then give us a formal direction. If that's what you would like, Mr. Stone. I mean, this is your subject, and we can put that on there for the next one if that's what you would like.
Yes, that's what I'd like.
Okay, I'll put that on there then. I'll make a note.
Good. That is a good thing.
Pit. Please. And to vote for recommendation to council. Okay, we'll do that then.
Good.
Is there any other questions about that? Comments?
Yeah, I would just, Larry, do you think it should also be worked, that conversation should be worked into the cooperative grant for the multi-use path as well? So that can, if we retain the lighting there, that path might also get lighting too eventually.
Sure. I just assumed that there was some kind of tradition about lighting state highways there. The road twists and turns, and you go from 45 miles an hour to 30 miles an hour. You go from 2 lanes going downhill to 1 lane right there. And and then there's people in the road, the skateboarders, cyclists, walkers. And I just thought we could put some light bulbs in. I know there was some discussion about buying new light posts, but I never got clear about why we couldn't just stick the light bulbs in.
So
Yeah.
let me answer that. That's within the same subject. I can answer that. The reason we couldn't do that is because first off, the reason this came up was APS brought it to our attention that those poles needed to be replaced for structural reasons. So they weren't going to put new lights up. It was, if we were going to do something, they were going to put new poles up. The cost to do that was between $16,000 and $20,000 if they did them all at one time, because of the cost of traffic control. At that point, because of that cost, we looked into whether it was really our responsibility to be lighting a state highway when it was not a right of way of the city. At that point, when we decided that we would just turn them off. Now, that's the answer for that. If I could give a recommendation to you all just to consider, Ben brings up a good idea with the lighting, that maybe we include something like this with this path around the pit, because in my idea would be with something like that is not put Cobra head lights so that we're actually lighting this entire thing, but we can actually put up pedestal lights, more of a pedestrian type thing. Those are easily be able to be installed with solar lighting. I've seen that applied in a number of different places. Just small pedestal lights. Those may be a good idea. They may not, but it's something that I would definitely consider rather than putting the Cobra headlights.
Probably cheaper, as long as the
It would be-
battery,
It would
the
be a lot
battery's
less
warranty.
maintenance cost. A lot less maintenance cost to that. And I think when it comes to, I'm not a lawyer, but when it comes to any kind of liability or anything like that, what we're doing actually is making an effort to light the path that the multi-use path that we will be taking responsibility for if that comes to fruition. So we are then at that point lighting our responsibility, not ADOT's.
You know, if you put those pedestal lights on the outside roadside of the sidewalk, it would delineate the edge of the sidewalk for the drivers and make it a lot easier for them to see. It might actually be even better than an overhead
That's my
lighting.
point. That's,
So almost, like a video
that's my
game,
point.
the edge of the road, yeah,
Yeah, they would be LED.
and everything, yeah.
That's my point, and I think that would definitely serve the public. Again, when it comes to what I do, I look to make sure that the money that we are spending is for the public that we actually have control over. It's not something that we're doing for a private resident, a private utility, those types of things. So if we can show that we're using our money for public use, I think that's the best way to use our money.
But in the meanwhile, because that's probably 5 years away at best, maybe 3 years away at best until something like that is engineered, funded, installed. But that's 3 years of a hazardous condition. And back to Larry's point, can't we just replace the bulbs until then without replacing the steel?
No,
because they're grandfathered.
APS do that. APS won't do that. If they're going to do them, they will only replace the pole with an LED light.
So they, in a sense, could be liable for that area not being lit and somebody being hit by a car because they refuse to replace a bulb and not fund the replacement. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it wouldn't be that, but it would. There are plenty of lights, roadways that are not lit, especially state highways, which this one is. You can just drive down the road a little bit, go down highway 92, highway 82. Those aren't lit the entire way. So there's
yeah, but they're not within the city of Bisbee, and they're also not nearly there's not nearly as many changes happening in intersections. They're outside of city limits, and I think that's the key difference.
I mean, yeah, I think that's something.
If you're expecting pedestrians to walk down the side of the road, then there is that. Most state highways, you're not expecting people to regularly use as a pathway to go like between Erie Street.
It's a lot of city limits.
Walk around the pit, so.
I just think
I think that. Go ahead.
I think APS is forcing our hand to try and pay for something, but then not accepting the risk of forcing our hand.
Well, they're kind of stuck with the catch-22. Those poles, as they set, are actually not really standard. They're not breakaway poles. If you remember that kid in his car wrapped around one, they want to replace them with a pole that if you hit it, it snaps off.
Yeah, but
it kill everybody that runs into it accidentally. It
Right,
is
but
a
it,
known thing for people to slide off the side of that road there.
but I still think that's less dangerous because you're in a car with usually an airbag than somebody who's walking on the road who has no protection at all.
Oh, I know.
Zero. And they can't move out of the way either. And it's also that pedestrian
I
is
agree with you there.
walking.
It needs to be
Yeah.
lit.
The pedestrian is forced onto the road. The driver is not being forced off the road, is what I'm saying. Like the driver's responsibility is to not crash into
Staying on the
things,
road. Yeah.
whereas the pedestrian has no other choice. And that's the legal hand that APS is forcing on us, which is to me unacceptable. But poor Jesus is the one having to deal with all this in the middle. So
That cost of $16,000 to $20,000 to replace the light poles, does that also include the ones kind of up at the top of Route 80, just as it goes into Old Bisbee there? Or is that just the ones at
No.
the bottom of 80 below
I
the
believe there were-
lavender?
Yeah, I believe there are 14 poles that go around the pit that
Yeah,
it included.
That's right. Well, 14 poles for $16,000. I mean, that seems pretty reasonable.
I believe it's what it was. I'll have to double check, but if I remember right, that's what it was.
I think
But you're right.
there's like 7 at the top and 7 at the bottom or something, as far as I could remember.
Something like
talking-
that, yes.
Right. I think it's just the
I would say just something to consider. When I know that you all or you all have great intentions and you talk about pedestrians on that road. One thing that may come up, and when this comes back up, is how many pedestrians are actually on that stretch of road. That's actually between wards. Not really. It's between the can't think of the name, Old Bisbee and I can't think of the name of the area.
I think it's a lot,
Um,
actually.
The parking lot. Yeah.
It could be. I don't know. I don't know that. So that may be something that we want to do some research. If this does
I think
actually go, that we can bring that up and say this is the traffic count for pedestrians.
Well, if the feasibility study is worth any salt, they should be doing that at a bare minimum.
Well, we already have a
You're right.
side down one side all the way to the pit lookout point. It's going from the pit lookout point to Lowell. That's
Mhm.
really the problem. Everything above that, there's a 3.5 foot wide sidewalk and everything else.
Yep.
Too, there's
Sure.
just no crosswalk to get across the
I
highway.
just
That's
wanted
pretty
to bring that up
dangerous.
for consideration. I just wanted to bring that for consideration. So, I have that on here that we will add that for our next meeting. Is there any other comments to discuss about that? Okay, hearing none. Let's move on to item 7. Discussion on change of 1% sales tax due to COVID-19 and impact of paving plan schedule as compared to 2019 income for the same periods. Is that
That's mine, and I think you already answered it with the
3%.
number 2.
Yeah. We are a little bit behind, but I don't believe that it's something that we can't adjust for. When we do just an estimate, if we did a typical road, let's say like we did some of those roads that we did down there, maybe like Cogden or something like that, where we did maybe like 1/8 of a mile stretches of road that we did. Those cost us about $20,000 to do. So when we're talking about 3%, you're talking about maybe cutting out one of those or something like that. If we need be, I don't think it's something that we can. It's something that we can manage.
Okay.
It's not something that we do all up front and we're like, oh no, we don't have any money. We work our way through it, and especially because of our climate, or where we live, We can't pave right now anyway. So it gives us a chance to get caught up as far as where our money is, and we can see how much we have left at the end of the period. If we did really
Okay.
well at the end of our budget year last year, we came down to just about spending everything. If we didn't spend everything, we may have had $1,000. We really did. We really did, with the help of our iWork program. We really did spend just about everything.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Any comments, questions? Item 7. Let's move on to item 8, update of the multi-use path around the pit. Kind of discussed that. Does anybody want to talk more about that, or where
I'm just
that's at?
curious. Last time we talked, I think it was you guys had not yet selected an engineering firm, and now I think there has been one. But I don't know. I'm just
Yes.
wondering, like, what's the status? Are there any designs that look promising? I have no idea what's going on. So
No, all they've done is they've selected engineer. I've worked with this engineering firm too. I can't remember the name of it.
they're out of the Midwest, right?
Yes, but they have offices in Phoenix and Tucson.
Okay.
I've worked with them before. That's where they're at. They've just selected them. I don't believe they have any concept or anything yet.
Okay. And
At least nothing.
right. Okay. And is there a period for public input on that? Is that before they start or after they start their engineering?
I don't know that. There will be public input, absolutely. I would assume they would do something similar to what I was talking about with the Adjournment area. Probably come up with a few concepts and then basically put it on a board and say, come over and start redlining it and tell us what you think. What do you want to see? What do you want to change?
Mhm.
Essentially what happens with these types of things.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. All
Okay.
right. Mhm.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, let's move on to item 9, paving plan update and rolling out the new oil truck. I think I kind of gave you, I did give you an update on the paving plan, but our oil truck, yes, we do plan on utilizing that now. This is the time for us to do that. It's ready to go. They've had some practice runs with some water so that they know what they're doing. We plan on doing some of the roads that's over in the Warren area that were paved. Maybe I think they were paved like maybe 5 or 7 years ago. Still in good condition, but they could just use some conditioning. So we definitely, I think, like over in the Black Knob area, not Black Knob Road itself, but there's some roads over in that area. And even Bisbee Road, even Arizona Street, those roads it's time for them to get some conditioning. And we do plan on utilizing that truck right now.
Awesome.
Is it possible to do really, really horrible roads, or is that just a waste of oil?
It essentially becomes a waste because there's no the aggregate within the rock that's included in there is failed. It's gone away. So what happens is that oil, really what it does is it gives that aggregate some stability and keeps it there. Once it's failed, it starts flaking away and you're left with just the big chunks of rock. You can and so it's just a waste. It'll essentially become mud.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments? Hearing none, let's move on to where are we at? Item 10, update on progress of hydrology report and the new drainage issues on Tombstone Canyon, cost estimates for potential fixes. I don't have an update because the county is still in the process of procuring their equipment so that they can do the survey of that road. I was told that they would be able to have that survey completed somewhere in the December area. So at that time, once we get that survey, we can take a look at that and see if something needs to be done, and then we can give a cost estimate. So that might be a good subject to keep on there for the next time.
Yeah, I saw that you did chip out a lot of the drains. Thanks for that.
Yep.
And I was wondering if every morning or some mornings I hear like, I don't know if it's jackhammering or milling or something like this morning, the loudest friggin' noise coming from down there. I don't know if that was what that is. Is that you guys working on stuff?
No, well, we don't have any projects going on.
Probably John Sky. Okay. His speaker is blown
There
out
are
or
some other
something.
projects going on in the area.
Yeah. Okay. I guess what was I going to say? Oh yeah, but I did notice that a couple of those drains already have leaves stuck in them already. I took a photo, but so they're not quite up to snuff yet, but it definitely helps. I guess until that hydrology survey is done, at least.
Okay. No, that's the regular maintenance thing. I can take a look at that.
That was the drain that had leaves in it. Was the one in front of Cafe Roca and Object Limited. So, I mean, it's not bad, but you know, because it's only been a month. But I just noticed that. So it could get compacted and totally clogged if left.
Okay. I made a note of that. That's a maintenance issue. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. So item 11, breakdown of milling budget in Tombstone Canyon bid compared to milling actually performed. Examples of milling fees per square foot with mobilization. That's a lot. I can tell you that we had some minor overages on both milling and paving. I don't have that in front of me now because I can't get my email. What the exact quantities were. But we also had some overages on the amount of manholes that needed to be lifted, manholes / our water valves for our fire suppression. Those ones were the city's responsibility. The overage on that I know was approximately $25,000. We had a 20% contingency, so we had about $200,000 in contingency, which we did not come close to. And I never anticipated it. And I did face some overages with that we were going to, especially with our manholes and our water valves. It was just something that, you know, going through there, trying to identify them. So what we did was we knew there were going to be some. And if you look at the original bid, it was actually bid with a per unit cost just for that reason, so they could come back and say these are exactly what we did. And so something that they just can randomly say, here's a number. No, they got to give us the exact number that they've given us. So yeah, we did include. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I guess my question was with the milling, because I just don't, it's more of a, I just don't know how it works. I'm just trying to learn. But when you're bidding out that project, I noticed like you spray paint an area and say mill this, right? And then that is highlighted before the bid goes out, or Or do you say that you've got a budget of 600 linear feet of milling, or a 20,000 square foot of milling, and then these are the place, and milling is 50 cents a square foot or something? Like, I'm just trying to figure out, like, how do you price out what the milling is, or is it just an allowance of milling?
No.
The allowance is $100,000 go.
No,
And
we do our best to get an exact number. So we say we do a walkthrough when we have a contractor. So we'll do a walkthrough with them. Say this is what we need to do. This is what we wanted. They go out. They'll mark it there sometimes, so they can get a square footage, and then they give us their estimate based on that. Then we do another walkthrough prior to the job actually going through, make sure we're all on the same page. And while the project is going, they will sometimes call us and say, this is, you need to come out and take a look at this. We may need to mill some more here and there. The milling was very, very insignificant for the overage that we went over. We did add some paving to some parking areas that we needed to make sure we got the entire area.
And so it sounds like there that the milling is up to the contractor to. I'm just wondering, like, when you're choosing which areas get milled, like sometimes there's stuff under there, like railroad tracks, so that prevents you from going any deeper, or it's a liability if you hit them. I'm just wondering, like, who sets where to mill and how much, and then that's reflected in the budget, or still kind of confused?
No, yeah, exactly right. When we go and do the walkthrough with our contractor and let them know, especially in this case, because this was a contract that was done on a cooperative contract. We did a walkthrough with all of our contractors, and they will come through with us and say, okay, so we're going to be paving a 2-inch overlay. We're coming up to this drain. We obviously can't go down 2 inches mill, there's a railroad track, so they do their best to tell us this is how much area we need to mill down. So in some aspects, you're right, they do tell us how much they need to mill, but that's reflected in their proposal prior to us accepting it. It's not something that we say, here's an amount, go mill as much as you can, or they just say, hey, we milled all this much, now you pay us this. No, we walk through with them, and they tell us, in this case, they did tell us, in order for us to do a 2-inch overlay in this area, we need to mill down. We need to, this area, give you an example, Main Street, the curving, the vertical curve is already fairly low on this, so we need to mill down to the edges so that we can maintain a good edge, vertical on that. So you're right in some aspects. They do give us how much, but that's reflected in their proposal prior to us accepting it.
Mm-hmm. So, and then at the end of the day, with the agreement, we asked them to do 25% more milling than what was right.
Overall, yeah. Yes,
Okay.
the contractor, if the contractor comes back and just gives me a change order and says, this is how much we did, you got to pay this. I said, no, I didn't ask you to do that. I will tell them that. No, if you did something on your own, that's on your own. You pay for it. But if I ask you to do something, yes. And that's what happens is they will come to us and say, hey, there's something we noticed here. What do you want us to do about it? And so then I give them an approval to move forward with doing some work.
Okay, that answers that. Thanks.
Thank you. That was item 11. Item 12. Well, first off, anybody have any other questions or comments about that? Okay. Very nice. Let's go on to item 12. The progress on shrub and clearing drainage is around the, with our new toys, are they helping? We don't have them yet.
Oh.
It should be actually, so no, they aren't helping. But yeah, I'm glad this is on here. That reminds me, I need to give it. We should be receiving the mini not the skid steer in the trailer now. I believe that's what there's a small holdup on the trailer. The mini excavator was on order. So we should actually be getting them now pretty close to all at the same time. So to answer the question, well, no, we don't have them yet.
But I think those will be helpful in clearing out some of these drainage ditches, like in behind the distribution center, by Cochise Row, in Warren, in Old Bisbee Tombstone Canyon, right? I mean, these are another cat. Look at that. Looks exactly like my cat. Like that'll all be used for all that stuff, right?
No, I agree. And that's one thing that we definitely we're looking forward to using them for.
Okay. Cool. And that's good cold weather stuff too. So, okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We won't be maybe we can just pull out a tractor. Let's go tear down some weeds.
Yeah.
While there's snow in the way, so we can.
Awesome. All right.
That's all we have for our new business. Any members have any comments that they would like to make?
I wanted to bring up one point. B&D Hardware is putting a culvert under Cochise Road. Are you familiar with that at all, Jesus?
No, I'm not.
Well, you might want to walk by there and see what they're doing. Looks like they're going to fill in over the top of it. It looks like a 6-foot culvert. They're doing a lot of good work out there with sand, and they're not just backfilling, throwing rocks in there and everything. But I thought probably you were aware of that, and I was just wondering what the standards were for putting culverts under our newly paved Cochise Road there.
Yeah. No, I don't. I'm gonna have to go peek.
Well, at least we know Dwayne's on the job, so it's not. It could be worse.
I know maybe there's and up to the road, so yeah.
Maybe there's more improvements that can be made on the Warren Ditch by the private property owners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're leading by example.
Well,
I can't imagine they'd be making anything worse, but who knows?
Okay, I'll take a look at that. Any other member comments? Staff comments. I just have one. I want to say thank you, Larry, for accepting that the chair for this committee. I look forward to working with you all. You and all of you. I'll continue working with you, but I definitely want to thank you, Larry. It'll be a big help.
Happy to help.
Thanks, Larry.
So our next scheduled meeting, I don't think is on here yet. It is not, because this is our last one for this year. So we will, our clerk's office puts those together at the beginning in January. So we will definitely be reaching out to you and letting you know when the next meeting is. Just looking at this one from last year, we did have one in January of last year, the end of January. So I would anticipate us having one at the end of January and continuing with that schedule. But when it is, I don't know. So we will definitely be reaching out to you all.
10-4.
Okay, with that, I guess we are ready for adjournment.
All right, thank you.
We'll adjourn at 6:41.
Sure,
Thanks
I
for
move-
dealing with all my pesky questions.
No, absolutely. They help. They definitely help. We don't get to, I don't get to see everything all the time. So somebody sees something, it helps. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. I hope to hear from you soon.
You're welcome.
All right.
All right, bye.
Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
Have a
Okay.
good night.